Corona, living or non living, yet lessons for the living. Corona, these days, a buzzword that shocks and terrifies the whole world. By December 2019, China officially declared that a new type of coronavirus is attacking its state Wuhan. The earlier one, SARS-2, that is severe acute respiratory syndrome, and the present COVID-19 belong to the group of coronavirus. First, let's have a few basics of virus in general and then go to the lessons that humanity can get from these corona related issues. Corona, the basics. Virus is very tiny and it is invisible to the naked eyes. These are the infectious agents with living and non living features. The unique feature of a virus is that it can infect by entering a host cell. They cannot reproduce on their own. Viruses are not cells, they are strands of genetic material with a protective protein coat called capsid. They infect a wide variety of organisms. Corona is said to be a rather large virus at the dimensions of varying from 20 to 400 nanometers. A nanometer, as we know, is 10 to the power minus 9 meter, that is 1 meter length is divided by 1 billion or 100 crore times. Such a tiny invisible thing a virus is. It has only RNA covered by fat and protein. They easily get washed away by alcohol or soap in 20 seconds. That is why we are advised to wash our hands every now and then, at least for 20 seconds. There are sort of a spikes around its body, enabling it to get hooked onto another living cell. This gives the appearance of a crown to the virus, and that is how it gets its name corona, which in Latin means a crown. When it enters our throat, it gets into the tissues there and gets multiplied. At a particular stage, it causes severe cough. The immune system in our body fights against it by raising the body's temperature very high in order to kill it. Whenever any foreign organism, like a virus or bacteria, enters our body, our immune system recognizes it in two ways: by the shape of the foreign agent and the chemicals emitted by it. White blood cells send macrophages and neutrophils to finish off those viruses. If they don't completely succeed and the virus has spread further into our body, lymphocytes, that is, T cells, which are part of them, try to cause the affected cells of the lungs to commit suicide and to expel them so that they don't further damage other tissues. It also tries to reduce the number of cells that are engulfed by the virus. If the virus is still invincible, B cells, which is a lymphocyte, try to tackle the virus. These cells recognize the virus and drag them to lymph nodes and kill it with the chemicals produced there. Similarly, coronavirus, after a few days of stay at the throat, enters lungs through the respiratory tracts. The inner walls of lungs have billions of very minute epithelial cells. Virus enters these cells and sends its RNA, and this multiplies into millions. And each RNA will turn into a virus. Within 10 days or so, most part of the lungs will be unfortunately engulfed by the virus. When our immune system sends cells into the lungs to fight against the virus, a sad and horrible thing happens. Virus enters these fighter cells of the immune system to kill them. Further, they create a sort of confusion in the genes of those cells. The cells of our immune system usually communicate with one another with the help of a chemical called cytokines. The affected cells send out confusing cytokines, and the neutrophil cells, which actually come in to save lungs, begin to destroy immune system cells instead of killing the virus. Similarly, T cells, instead of doing its actual job, begin to give out information to destroy the healthy cells in our lungs. With this being vulnerable to further attacks by bacteria, lungs develop pneumonia, and this very often becomes fatal to the patients. Thus, corona is extremely devilish in making our own immune system antagonistic to our body. Even the T killer cells and B cells have not succeeded in identifying the killer corona exactly, because the virus has millions of ways to create the communicating chemical cytokines, and that is why we are not able to arrest the multiplication of the virus, and we cannot make a vaccine to prevent it either. When we normally take medicines, they usually change into chemical information and fight against the virus or bacteria directly, or enable our immune system to produce the required antibodies to fight against them. But as corona takes our immune system into its control, the medical world is really stunned and unable to fight against this killer virus corona. The good soldiers, T and B cells, are so badly misled and confused that they begin to destroy the good cells in lungs instead of saving them. But in spite of all these difficulties, our immune system is largely able to fight against the coronavirus, though who already have respiratory issues or low immune system are easily affected, even resulting in unfortunate deaths. The diabetic patients have less immune power. Those with heart diseases or hypertension are not able to circulate enough blood to fight against this virus. But if these problems are controlled with proper medications and with sufficient physical exercise, they also can escape the virus attacks. We don't unfortunately know how long it will take to develop a vaccine to prevent it, because even for HIV, we have not been able to invent a vaccine even after 35 long years. Though HIV also cripples our immune system, it luckily does not spread through coughs and sneezes. And at that perspective, the present corona is more dangerous than HIV. However, luckily, a lot of corona infected patients do recover from it if their immune system is strong enough. As we don't have the medicines to cure nor vaccine to prevent it, the best way is to be very cautious not to contract this virus. Several precautionary measures are to be taken individually and collectively to personally escape from it and not to contribute to the transmission of it. Something interesting to think about. The spelling of virus is virus. Supposing if you remove two letters and write V dash R dash S, what are missing? The two letters I and U. So only you and I can kill the virus by keeping ourselves away from it. And in fact, by this, we can give VRS, that is voluntary retirement from service, to the virus and save ourselves and save humanity. Coming to the second part, corona lasting lessons. 1. Life still a mystery. The corona related issues, in my opinion, give one more occasion to reflect upon the very notion of life and its meaning and meaningfulness. Perhaps we can never understand what life is and what human life is as long as we are caught up in the contours of life itself. We may have to soar up high or go beyond life, so to say, to understand what life is, and that is never possible. If one were able to do that, perhaps one cannot communicate to others about it, as others would be still entangled in the web of life. T.D. Singh, a pioneer in science religion dialogue from the Indian thought perspectives, suggests a sincere attempt to understand life is of foundational importance, and it will have important advance in deciding the relation between science and religion. Erwin Schrödinger, a quantum physicist, wonders in his book titled What is Life, written in 1944. Science Journal, in its issue of July 2005, lists out 125 questions which cannot be answered even by modern science. For instance, how and where did life on Earth arise? And still more intriguing question would be, what is that life? Again, Albert Zent Georgi, a Hungarian Nobel laureate and biochemist, declares, in my search for the secret of life, I ended up with atoms and electrons, which have no life at all. Somewhere along the line, life has run out through my fingers. Sciences may be able to separate all biochemicals like nucleic acids, RNA or DNA, carbohydrates, lipids, enzymes, and all other basic building blocks of organic bodies, but will they ever discover what is that which gives life to them? It is said that more than 50 minerals, salts, and chemicals are essential for life, and the ratio of their combination is also very crucial for the holistic health of our body. For instance, if sodium is more in our body, it damages blood vessels and increases blood pressure and causes other heart diseases. But if it is less, it causes low blood pressure, damages nerve cells, the muscles of the heart, and digestive systems. The most fascinating thing about all these chemicals is that these chemicals are lifeless in themselves, but still they are very necessary to make life possible. It is generally understood that a living being is made up of cellular organization. It needs nutrition, respiration, it grows and develops, moves, reproduces, responds to stimuli. Further, it maintains homeostasis, stability, and constant internal conditions. Metabolism takes place in it, having organ systems to carry out different functions of the being. But a non living being is made up of atoms and subatomic particles. It does not need food or energy to perform activities. It does not grow in size or develop into something else. It does not eat or excrete, nor reproduce or multiply. A dead being is an organism that once had life, but now no pulse, eyes are dilated, body is cold, emitting foul odor, muscles become rigid and start decomposing. Further, in the medical world, two types of death are recognized: somatic death, which involves stoppage of respiration, circulation of blood, and brain functions, and molecular death, which involves the death of all organs at different times. While liver dies rapidly, heart takes 60 minutes and cornea takes 6 hours to die. There is obviously a time gap between these two types of death. All living beings will undergo these two types of death. But regarding the status of virus, there is an alarming ambiguity. One cannot easily decide whether it's a living or a non living being. It manifests some signs of life, like multiplying when it is parasitic to another living cell of a plant or an animal, but left alone in the environment, it cannot respond to stimuli. It assumes a crystalline form, cannot grow or multiply or reproduce. Outside a living cell, it cannot survive because it cannot create energy and there is no agency to reach out to food, nor is there any metabolism, unlike bacteria, amoebas, etc. Some scientists consider virus as a missing link between life and non life. Be that as it may, that is why even today the notion of life and its origin are very mysterious. Werner Arber, a renowned biologist, makes an honest confession. I must confess that I don't understand how life came about. The most primitive cell may require at least several hundred different specific biological micromolecules. How such already quite complex structure may have come together remains a mystery to me. The possibility of the existence of a creator, of God, represents to me a satisfactory solution to this problem. Coming to the lesson number 2, equality and indisputable fact. Humans are now forced by the corona to feel equal to one another. Though every nation and every race has been focusing on the differences to show its might over the others, to boss over others, and to manipulate all possible ways to safeguard its own comfort zones. Yet they are now taught a great lesson of equality, perhaps in a tough way. The virus does not know the differences of regions or religions, color or creed, rich or poor, wise or otherwise. It does not discriminate against the developed or developing countries. Not only ordinary people on the streets are killed, but also even those from the royal families are also not spared, like the princes of Spain. After several centuries, the rich and the affluent are taught to remind themselves of life's transience and fragility. Many of us have been living as if youth, health, and wealth are the default settings of life, but now we are taught some basic lessons of life, perhaps again in a harsh way. The whole world joins together in fighting against the menace. All leading scientists and research laboratories all over the world join their hands to find out the ways and means to control the spread of the infection and to find a vaccine against it. Every nation or race may have unique achievements and capacities, but to the eyes of nature, we all are same and equal. All natural forces are equally harsh or equally gentle to all humans without any discrimination on any account. Of course, we need to cherish the differences of various regions, languages, cultures, creeds, and so on, but we must not forget the indispensable or indisputable fact that we are all basically equal, traveling in the same boat in the vast ocean of reality. As Pope Francis, in the context of corona issues, reminds us that all of us are fragile and disoriented, but at the same time important and needed. All of us called to row together. Therefore, instead of focusing on the differences that keep us apart, we are now taught to focus on the factors that unite us, realizing that we are certainly equal. Coming to the third lesson, humility and natural emotion for any thinking person. Corona, such a tiny and mysterious being, poses an indomitable challenge to the world of science. In fact, science has even measured the unimaginably huge, vast universe. It has managed to learn that the invisible universe is much larger than the visible one. The invisible universe is 150 sextillion times bigger. One sextillion is 1 followed by 21 zeros. Such a huge universe is the invisible part of it. The visible universe is much, much smaller. Though we say it is much smaller, the visible universe has the diameter of about 90 billion light years. One light year is 9 trillion kilometers. Such a huge, vast is the visible universe, but the invisible universe is much, much larger than that, 150 sextillion times larger than the visible universe. However, we become so helpless that we have, so to say, to surrender to this little virus. We are able to measure the vast, huge universe, but we do not know how to tackle with this little thing, virus, and it is posing a big challenge. Even the developed countries feel very abandoned and overwhelmed in dealing with this menace. They just throw their hands up in total surrender. Glorious economic powers and mighty military prowess don't make any sense to this invisible agent virus. Is it another instance to show that the invisible determines the visible? Yes. As sciences develop, humanity is increasingly realizing that the visible world is determined by the invisible in all possible aspects. For instance, the physical world is determined by the four invisible fundamental physical forces, both at the subatomic and cosmic levels. The galaxies in the incredibly vast dark universe are determined by the invisible black holes, and even our very words and actions of our day to day lives are determined or shaped by the invisible emotions, convictions, beliefs, and value systems. Again, this small little thing, virus, has made the whole world to come to a standstill. It has closed the worship places down. It has silenced the noises of the ultra modern world. It has caused the downfall of the economy. Transports have been halted. Yes, it's a big blow to humanity, which has been assuming that it is in control of everything, including its own destiny. But humanity is now forced to look for wisdom and discernment to find out what the real fulfillment in life is. It's time perhaps to listen to the inner voice. We can now hear it very loudly as the several noise in the external world are forced to be silent. Even a cursory look at this scenario teaches a person and every nation to be humble no matter what his or her or its achievements are. It's also time to think of God's innumerable blessings. It is said that an 80-year-old man was infected by corona. Fortunately, he got recovered in a few days. He was discharged from the ICU. The hospital gave him the bill to pay the amount of 5,000 euro for the ventilator he used. Seeing the bill, he started weeping bitterly. The staff there asked him whether he had no that much of money to pay. In between the sobbing, he said, "No, no, I have the money to pay. I just thought all these 80 years I've been breathing so effortlessly, but I never thanked God for such a precious gift that He gave me completely free." Yes, that makes us realize how humble we need to feel for all the sun, water, and air that we have been enjoying from nature without any payment. Finally, this dangerous virus may be living or non living, we are not sure, but it certainly has lessons for us who are still living. As we are all existentially connected, we can't survive as an individual nation or race. Let us unite together. Let's all individually and collectively do whatever we can to fight against this virus and save the earth for the future generations. Brains and knees, that is, efforts and prayers, have to complement each other because what one can do, the other cannot do. Let us raise our hands and hearts to the sky as we pray for the thousands who unfortunately lost their lives due to this infection, that they may rest in God's eternal bliss and for the consolation of their dear and near ones. As we pray for the speedy recovery of the several thousands who have been infected by this virus, as we pray for the healthcare professionals, administrative officials, biochemical researchers, and million others who even risk their very lives to control the spread of the infection, to cure the infected, and to invent a preventive vaccine. Let's all be resolved to do our best with a God given reasoning power and intelligence, seeking God's blessings upon the efforts of humanity.